Hello everyone, this is Scarzig, and welcome back to another episode of Budget Hero. Today, we're going to be working on Vanar. This episode's been a long time coming, and I do apologize for the wait, but we're going to get right into it. First off, we're going to open these spirit orbs, see if we can get some extra spirit for crafting. I do have my list here in front of me. Ooh, 2 epics. Gee, I've been having such good luck on this account getting cards. And not necessarily ones I want to keep either, like ones that are good for disenchanting. All of the decks that I've built so far have focused around, just commons and rares that are going to give you the most power. But this is really solid, and frequently when you're designing your deck around, commons and rares, you end up opening a lot of them as you progress naturally, right? You don't need to craft every single card when you're just focusing on the most common. So that's really good for us. We're going to go here to dismiss new. If you click on this little gear, you can dismiss new. So you don't have to click through every single page to clear out the new notification. But again, working on Vanar. Pardon me. So first things first on our list, we managed to open a Snow Chaser, but we do want another one of those. I think 3 might be correct, but as time shifts, I tend to go between 2 and 3. Sometimes I want 2, sometimes I want 3. So I think that especially if you're trying to save some spirit, you can get away with just having 2 Snow Chasers for sure. So we're going ahead and make one of those. And let's see, before we get too far into crafting, truth be told, I'll need to do some of this disenchanting. I looked at my entire collection and I wrote down a few cards that are on the chopping block. We have a Metamorphosis, at least I thought we did. Oh, goodness, never mind. I could have sworn. Oh, it's because I'm in the deck editor. Sorry about that. Yeah, here it is. Metamorphosis, which is a legendary. You transform all enemy minions into 1/1 magma with no abilities until the end of your opponent's turn. This is for Magmar, and generally what you're supposed to do is combo this card with a Spirit Harvester, which is a minion that deals 1 damage to everything. Blistering Scorn, which I think I mentioned earlier, deals 1 damage to everything when you play it as a board clear. But as Magmar, your opponent, isn't really going to be swarming you that hard. And you really want more single target removal as Magmar, so I'm kind of getting off track, but we don't need Metamorphosis, so we are going to disenchant this. And this is actually going to put us a good portion towards what we need, I believe, for our shopping list here. We also have... And, well, I have Envy Bear on the list, but it's a monthly card, so I kind of feel like I want to keep it. But that's the whole thing, too. Sometimes you get monthly cards that you really aren't going to want to use, and you can disenchant those. That's another good thing about Duelyst, is the free cards they give you every month can theoretically become spirit. So in the spirit of that, we will go ahead and disenchant our monthly card. And, of course, the monthly cards, you do get them for free, but they're added to the pool of cards you can get from packs. So if you ever want them again, you don't have to craft them. You can potentially reopen those cards. So first things first, for crafting for Vanar, we got our second Snow Chaser. We want to pick up Cryogenesis. Where is it? We have 1, so we want to create 2 more of these. It deals 4 damage to an enemy minion, so it's fantastic removal, and you draw a Vesper minion from your deck. Currently, our list will consist of Crystal Cloakers and Snow Chasers. So not only will Cryogenesis remove something, it will give us a small minion to follow up with. So that's really useful to have. We're going to get 3 of those because, it essentially draws you a card, and you can also draw something and then replace the card that you get, because you might not necessarily want or be in the position to play a Snow Chaser or a Crystal Cloaker, so you can just replace it after the fact. That's what this allows you to do, is keep what you have in your hand, get an additional option that you can guaranteed replace. Let's see, what else is on our list? Hearth Sisters, that's right, we skipped over them. Where are you? Hearth Sister, Hearth Sister. Goodness, it's so hard navigating. That's why I use the search bar so much whenever I've done all my other crafting. It's kind of hard to navigate the crafting menu, in my opinion. But anyway, we're going to create 3 Hearth Sisters. These are fantastic utility for getting those hard-to-reach units, swapping a threat out of range. It combos with Fey Bloodwing's Bloodborne spell to deal 2 damage to everything in the same row as the opposing general. So you can swap something into range, hit it with your Bloodborne spell, get some nice damage onto it, and then finish it off with something else maybe. All in all, really solid card. Hearth Sister has been one of the best Vanar cards. Well, has always been one of the best Vanar cards since the beginning of time. Let's see. What else is on this list? Oh, Razorback is on this list. Now, I was thinking, did I want Razorback or Wailing Overdrive? Because Wailing Overdrive is still going to give you that burst damage that Razorback offers because you're boosting something with attack, but Razorback is a bit more loosely applicable, where Wailing Overdrive, you need to have a minion on their starting side of the board. So if you're behind, Wailing Overdrive is going to be a really bad draw, and I think that Razorback is going to be a little bit better because it gives us a body, and if we have the chance to swarm, with our Snow Chasers and whatnot, I think that the Razorback is going to give us the most overall damage potential. And if you're maining Vanar, and perhaps if you picked up some Gravity Wells or some Bone Chill Barriers, which create all those walls everywhere, the Razorback now buffs walls. And so I think we're actually going to go with Razorback. I just talked myself into it. And because we had a lot of key cards that we were able to disenchant, I have the spirit to get these Razorbacks. They're on my list, but I would definitely say they're lower on the list. Not high priority. Get your Hearth Sister, get your Snow Chaser, get your Cryogenesis, and go from there. Let me see. I also have Mark of Solitude on this list, which is a rare. And again, this is a bit greedy because I have generally a lot of spirit, but that's because, again, I'm doing budget edits of these decks, right? Because if I took all the spirit that I have ever gotten so far on this account and I'd just been putting it into one deck, into one faction, then I would probably have a top tier deck by now, I feel like. Depending on the faction, because certain factions, need way more legendaries. But we're going to pick up a couple Mark of Solitude. And once we get into the deck builder, I'll get a bit more into that. Mark of Solitude, you select a minion, and it becomes 5/5. Mark of Solitude is a really weird spell. It's really funky, and it's kind of hard to explain. It's one of those spells that has kind of weird interactions, and you need to play with it, really, or play against it a couple times before you kind of figure out what its rules are. The minion gets to keep its effects and abilities, right? But it transforms into a 5/5. Its stats become 5/5, and because it's not a buff, it's a transformation, the way Aspect of the Fox turns something into a, well, let me hover over here so you can see. Aspect of the Fox transforms a minion into a 3/3 Ravager. It changes them into a wolf that's a 3/3, and you can't dispel a transformation. So with Mark of Solitude, that the 5/5 stat change can't be dispelled, but it also tacks on an additional effect onto the creature where it can no longer attack generals. So what Mark of Solitude allows you to do is if something really big is about to hit you, you make it into a 5/5 and it can't attack generals. It'll still be able to hit your minions, of course, but you aren't going to take that face damage. So what Mark of Solitude is going to allow us to do is we can cast it on Rock Pulverizer. Suddenly we have a 5/5 Provoke. We can cast it on Veil Hunter. Suddenly we have a 5/5 ranged unit that can, go in for us. You could even combo it with Saberspine Tiger, right? If you needed to deal 5 damage to something, and then you have like maybe a 5/1 left over that, still can't attack the opposing general, but it's really good for just keeping them locked down or maintaining board control. So Mark of Solitude, really fun card, and we're going to show that off today. We'll take out the Repulsor Beasts and the Dragon Larks because Hearth Sister kind of fills their role, right? Where Dragon Lark allows us to reach distant enemies and deal damage to what we want, Hearth Sister does that. Repulsor Beast allows us to move something threatening out of the way, or move something in of our opponents into a better position so we can hit it with Warbird. Hearth Sister does that. So by just getting this one card, we've already replaced 2 cards in our deck that were filling in that same role. In this particular deck, we could probably take out Young Flamewing because we have Hearth Sister, right? We don't need to have something waiting in the back and then have it be brought in. Hearth Sister can bring stuff in for us. Young Flamewing is a bit greedy. We do need to make room for other stuff. We're going to throw in these Cryogenesis. We do want to make room for Dancing Blades because that is just a fantastic, fantastic card. Let me see what we want to take out. Frostfire. I think we're going to take out Frostfire because we have Mark of Solitude. And let's see what else I can make room for here. Maybe take out a Snowpiercer. Maybe take out the Arctic Displacer. Because our deck is going to be a bit more consistent overall, we don't really need that Hail Mary like 10-4 to close out games for us. We're going to be doing it much more ourselves. And if you have the 5 mana to spend, you might be able to get a really clutch Dancing Blades in instead, right? Because if you think of it this way, Arctic Displacer as a 10-4 will die to a lot of stuff, but Dancing Blades as a 4-6 will survive. And if you get 2 rotations of 4 damage, you're almost getting the same payout. Plus it deals 3 damage as it comes in, so if it deals that 3 damage and then lives to hit 2 more things, then you've got your payoff right there that Arctic Displacer normally would get. Kind of weird to think about, but that's kind of how I view it. And so, do we want to put in a 3rd Dancing Blades? We could probably get away with 2. And I crafted 2 Mark of Solitude, but I think I want a 3rd one. And we need to make room for Snow Chasers. Goodness. Let's see here. Wow, this is pretty tricky. There's a lot of stuff. Snowpiercers, we could probably cut down to just 1 of those and have it in our pocket just in case it comes in handy. And so we want to put in Snow Chasers. Oops, spelled that wrong. Snow Chasers. And what was the other thing we're looking for? Oh yeah, Mark of Solitude. We've got our Cryogenesis in there. Okay, so we've got 3 Aspect of the Fox, 2 Snow Chaser, 2 Chromatic Cold, 3 Crystal Cloaker, 2 Healing Mystic, 3 Hearth Sister, 2 Mark of Solitude, 2 Rock Pulverizer, 2 Veil Hunter, 3 Cryogenesis, 3 Fenrir Warmaster, 3 Saberspine Tiger, a Snowpiercer, 3 Hailstone Golems, 3 Primus Shield Masters, and 2 Dancing Blades. Overall, this is just a pretty... It's like a good stuff deck where it doesn't have a specific like win condition or like fancy strategy. You're just going to try to play well with good cards, and that's going to get us the win. So let's hop into the ladder and see what we can come up with. It's been a while since I've played on this account, as you know, so the ladder has reset. I think I'm like in high bronze right now, but again, we aren't looking to BM opponents. Oh, we're in silver. Perfect. We're just looking to play decently and go from there. We're going to replace the Ephemeral Warmaster just so that we have a chance of getting a bit more variety in our hand. The Saberspine Tiger is pretty sweet. Let's see. Yeah, we'll just play the Rock Pulverizer this turn. Next turn, depending on what our opponent does, we could probably just move the Rock Pulverizer forward, slap the Mark of Solitude on it, and then we have a 5/5 Provoke. So let's see what our opponent does. Songhai is the last faction I need to do for the Budget Hero series. Oh god. You need to get... okay, so our opponent placed the Chakri Avatar here in a forward position, and he played a spell. Perfect. So that buffs the Chakri Avatar into a 2/3, and then he can move it safely out of the way. Alright, cool. So what I want to do is move the Rock Pulverizer down, so that ramps us up to 4. Then we play the Saberspine Tiger on the mana tile. That ramps us up to 5. We could play the Mark of Solitude on the Saberspine Tiger. It becomes a 5/5, and then it would attack, and then it's alive to hit whatever else our opponent has in store, instead of casting the Mark of Solitude on the Rock Pulverizer to keep our opponent locked down. But I think because we have the Dancing Blades in our hand and, Ephemeral War Master follow up with, I think we do want our opponent locked down with the Mark of Solitude on the Rock Pulverizer instead. So I think we're going to go with this play, but I believe, there was merit to either one of those minions being buffed instead. Rock Pulverizer gets to kind of do the same thing, right, where we have a 5/5 that can hit whatever our opponent brings into play. But, ooh, Widowmaker. Nice. Okay, so check this out. We are going to step forward and then play the Hearth Sister to swap the Rock Pulverizer. Now, I played the Hearth Sister before I moved to the Rock Pulverizer, so it can move once it's up here, kill the Widowmaker, and now our opponent is locked down. We'll cast our Bloodborne spell, Warbird, to deal 2 damage to him, and we have a pretty good board state here. We have the Aspect of the Fox and Dancing Blades coming up for possible removals, Hearth Sister for utility, and the Ephemeral War Master just as a body if we don't need to do anything else. The Ephemeral War Master is a 3/2 that when it dies summons another 3/2. It's decent for, just again keeping our opponent's board cleared or just getting the face damage in. It used to be a 3/3 that spawned a 3/3, and that was, they had to nerf that back in the day. But oh, so he cast Phoenix Fire on the Rock Pulverizer, as you saw, because he doesn't want to be locked down, of course. And since he didn't summon any minions, we don't want to miss out on the Dancing Blades opening Gambit. It deals 3 damage to any minion in front of it. You can't use it to go face on the general. That would be really OP. But we're just going to play the Ephemeral War Master. And should we replace here? It would be kind of greedy to replace and look for another 2-drop here, but I think I want to keep my hand just because I like the utility that I have to deal with my opponent right now. Cryogenesis, yeah, so you can see we have a lot of removal. We have a lot of ways to deal with our opponent's board while we're just slowly whittling them down, building a board advantage. Oh, is he going to go face with that? Oh, wow. Okay, so he paid Saberspine Seal's price to increase his damage to 5. If he would have hit the Ephemeral War Master, would have been really inefficient use of that spell. So the Thorn Needler, the Thorn Needler has 4 HP, so it's a perfect target for Cryogenesis. We could also, another fancy combo with Vanar is you can transform a minion with Aspect of the Fox, turn it into a 3/3, right? And then Dancing Blades deals 3 damage to it, and then it just dies for free. But again, since we have a 1-card option to deal with this minion, we don't need to use a fancy 2-card combo. We can just take it out with 1, and we get the Snow Chaser, which is pretty cool because we can just place him to box our opponent in some more. Bada boom. And I'm going to choose not to hit my opponent here against Songhai. It's generally good practice to keep your HP high, and I think we're going to hit with the Hearth Sister here, though. Let's see. If I do hit him, he'll go down to 7, and then we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lethal next turn. So actually seeing the totals here, and since he only has 2 cards in hand and an empty board, I feel a bit more confident doing the trade here, right? Taking him down to 7 so we can threaten lethal next turn. Yeah, so the Bloodletter isn't going to do enough to get him out of this sticky situation. Victory. Nicely done there. And we're just climbing, getting gold. So that is Budget Vanar, doing pretty well so far.
Vanar versus Songhai.
Oh goodness. Oh. Doing commentaries makes me so thirsty. But I hope you can kind of see what we're going for here. We even got to show off the Mark of Solitude combo, and these are all, again, just common and rare cards. I was also tempted to swap out the Ephemeral War Master with the Snow Rippler, which is a common card that was introduced from Shim'Zar. It's a common 3 mana 3/4. So instead of a 3/2 that brings another 3/2 onto the board, which is sort of the same thing, you get a 3/4 that can sometimes draw you a card. But I like this hand. We've got the removal, a nice follow-up for our next few turns. We're going to open with the Crystal Cloaker. And next turn, we can choose to move the Crystal Cloaker forward 2 spaces to get its Infiltrate bonus. Once it crosses over this center line here, it activates its special ability to gain +2 attack. Ooh, pretty interesting. He plays the Mana Forger so that his spells cost 1 less, and then he uses the Phoenix Fire to kill the Crystal Cloaker. That's really sad. Let's replace 1 Chromatic Cold, see what we get. Healing Mystic. I don't think I really need to worry about the Mana Forger. It sounds like a bad idea, right? Because Mana Forger makes it so the first non-Bloodborne spell that my opponent casts each turn costs 1 less. But because I have better options for dealing with it, you know, I can just Cryogenesis or swap it into place and then hit it with the Ephemeral War Master or something, or Bloodborne spell, yada yada. I could have just used Hearth's Sister last turn to swap it towards my general and hit it. Then it would live as a 1/1, and if he's going to get another rotation out of it being alive, then I might as well use my mana more efficiently on my turn. And this is one of the bonuses of Ephemeral War Master, is that sometimes it'll either dispel for you, and then your later units can stick a little bit better. See, he's not going to have that Ephemeral Shroud to deal with the Primus Shield Master now. And he'll probably attack the Ephemeral War Master, right? Take this 3 damage? Yeah, okay, cool. Next turn, we have access to our Bloodborne spell. Cool. So what I can do here is move forward, Hearth's Sister, the Mana Forger, into the space above my enemy, and then use the Bloodborne spell to deal 2 damage to it, finish it off with my general. And then I've got the Healing Mystic to follow up with, maybe. That seems like a decent play, so we're going to go for it. This feels a bit weak. I could have easily just played the Primus Shield Master and gone about my business. That would have been an excellent alternate play, but my opponent only has like the Ephemeral Shroud on board, so I can afford to take it slow. I don't want the Mana Forger to get out of hand or wreak any havoc, especially since he moved it up into the corner. There was a good chance that my opponent could maybe summon a ranged unit near it, and then I'd be forced to run up here to the corner to deal with it, while he's moving to the other corner and playing more stuff over here. And once you like have your forces split, it gets really hard to fight back when you're getting attacked from both sides. My opponent here doing the standard Inner Focus Killing Edge combo. Oh, pretty sick. Get some nice burst damage here. And so now we have the 6/5 to deal with. Luckily we do have Chromatic Cold, so that's really good for us. Is that what I want to go with? Yeah, because I can move up, summon the Primus Shield Master, and then Chromatic Cold this thing. That dispels the Killing Edge buff, then deals 2 damage to it, leaves it as a 2/1. I'm going to finish him off with my general, and now the Hearth's Sister can move towards me, and I've got my forces gathered up in one spot, and we can begin moving in on our opponent. And I like what we have so far. We have the Healing Mystic. I want to top myself off a little bit with it. there is a good chance that my opponent might have another combo like that, right? Play a minion with Inner Focus, and then backstab the Primus Shield Master to weaken it. Oh, Ephemeral Shroud. Okay, cool. So, the Primus Shield Master doesn't provoke anymore, but, you know, it's still a 3/6, and it's a lot more threatening than the 1/1s that he has on the board, so not worried about this at all. Wondering if I want to hit this Ephemeral Shroud with my General. That way, you know, the 3 damage can go face, or the 6 damage can go face. I can have the heart. This was a bit of a mistake, probably, by my opponent, because I can have the Hearth Sister come down and then hit the Ephemeral Shroud, and it survives as a 3/1. And so then he has to find another source of damage to deal with it. It's going to get another resource out of him, or possibly, you know, trade into a minion on the board, or he might need to hit it with his General and deal 3 more damage. So that's a really good value trade for us. And yeah, so let's just go for that. I'm going to hit the Ephemeral Shroud here. And let's see. I'm going to have the Primus Shield Master step behind me to protect my back. And then I'm going to play another Primus Shield Master with Provoke. And I'm going to heal me. Yeah, looking good. I'm going to replace the Ephemeral War Master. Since we have a lot of minions on board, I want to try to look for more spells and more utility. So, really savage board state we have right here with the 2 Primus Shield Masters. My opponent has only been able to... He's been getting some good face damage in, but he's only been able to develop Ephemeral Shrouds to simply, you know, put a band-aid on what I was putting out onto the board. But overall, really sick combo, right? With the Kaido Assassin, Killing Edge, Inner Focus combo. The Killing Edge, if it's still on the... well, it's not on the thing anymore, but Killing Edge is a spell that when you play it on a minion that has the backstab ability, the way Kaido Assassin does, it draws you a card. And so that can be really useful. It draws the card at the end of the turn, but it allows you to do like a big combo like that and still be able to keep your hand sort of filled. And so my opponent with 4 cards in hand after the Ancestral Divination, he drew 2 cards with that. Now has to figure out what to do to get around this board. If I were to replace into a Razorback right now... Did I put those in the deck? Oh god. I don't think I put the Razorbacks that I crafted into this deck. But if I were... if I were to replace into a Razorback and give all of these +2/+2, that would be 5, 9, then... goodness. That would be 10... That'd be oodles and oodles of damage. So we'll replace the Hearth Sister. Let's see, we've got 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Alright then. Yeah, so we can just go all in. Opponent at 2 HP. I believe our Bloodborne spell is going to be available again on our next turn, so unless he heals, we got him. I'm going to heal myself, and we get to drop the Ephemeral War Master. Yeah, so this is just really unfortunate that our opponent wasn't able to really develop a board. Especially in lower levels of play, getting bodies on the board is what's going to win you games. You aren't going to have like the massive collection or the really intricate decks that can function with less minions and rely on, you know, just out-of-hand damage and spells, right? That Songhai is sort of famous for right now, doing those big combos, because you do need a lot of pieces. Picking up Lantern Foxes is a really good thing for them, especially. That makes them one of the harder classes to do a budget version of. But I'm going to do a bit more research. I have, again, some cards on my list for Songhai. Ooh. So that's pretty interesting. The Scientist is a 6/6, and whenever you cast a spell that targets a friendly minion, you draw a card. So what he could do is cast his Bloodborne spell Blink on a friendly minion. The Scientist would draw him a card. Unfortunately, playing the big 6/6 like this isn't going to save him because I have a bunch of minions on board, and we'll just hit him. Not gonna have him sit through the Warbird animation. But God, now I didn't put those Razorbacks in, did I? I don't think I saw one this entire time. Jeez Louise. Oh, we unlocked Avalanche, which is a fun card if you want to experiment with that. But, yeah. Gee whiz. So I crafted all those cards and was struggling to find room for them. Yeah, we never put in the Razorback. We'll take out the Snowpiercer and the Hailstone Golem, and we're going to put in 2 Razorbacks. And that's our finished budget Vanar list. And again, if we had drawn Razorback in any of those 2 games, would have been over a lot sooner, and that's why you want that card. But thank you for stopping by, and I will see you next time. You have a good one.